Okay, so I wasn't originally planning on seeing this movie because the fact is, I'm just not emotionally attached to the Terminator movie franchise. Until recently, I'd only seen all the movies once each. But I got into a free advance screening of this one, so I figured, why not? So the other day, to prep for it, I watched the first two Terminator movies again. And after watching them, I was like, holy shit, what the fuck have I been missing? Because those two movies are awesome, especially that second one, holy shit. But just know that this review is coming from someone who is just not a diehard Terminator fanatic. So here we go. Terminator Dark Fate. What a stupid ass title. That exaggerated Arnold voice is just a blast to do. I would do the entire review in this voice, but it would get annoying after a while, so I'm not going to. So Terminator Dark Fate is the 6th movie in the Terminator movie franchise, but it serves as a direct sequel to the second movie, Judgment Day, and pretty much negates the other 3, Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, Terminator Salvation, and Terminator Genesis. This is the official sequel to Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So Dark Fate takes place, I think it's 22 years after the events of T2, and it is pretty much the same plot as Terminator 1 and 2, but with different characters. The main character in this one, her name is Dani Ramos. A Terminator has been sent back in time to kill her because she's going to be important in the future. So then the character Grace from that same time was sent to protect her. And also we have Terminator veteran actors Linda Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Arnold! And now here we go again with new Terminator movie. Now most of the reviews that I've seen have said that this is the best Terminator movie since the second one. I don't know if that is saying much. It was fine. Like I was really digging it in the first half. Then the second half was like, well, I'll get to it. I gotta say though, I think my favorite thing in this entire movie is seeing Linda Hamilton come back as Sarah Connor. I thought she was completely badass. My audience cheered when she came on screen because she is the same character from T2, you know? She's hardened after years of battle. Just the way she carried herself was so confident. I loved her because she's like, yeah, I'm used to this shit. You new younger characters, you're noobs. Let me show you how it's done. She just takes charge. Linda Hamilton really committed to Sarah Connor in this movie, and I like that. As for these new main characters though, they are pretty much playing the same role that Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor were in Terminator 1. You know, Danny's like, why me? I'm no one special. Why am I getting wrapped up in this adventure? I'm not fit for it. And Grace is like, you have to listen to me. You are important to the future. You have to live. And I have to protect you no matter what. They played the roles fine, but I didn't really see what was so special about them. In fact, I don't think it's ever really explained why Danny is so important in the future. I mean, I guess it is explained in one way, but it didn't really, I didn't buy it. Or it's not that I didn't buy it, it's that it wasn't fulfilling to me. It wasn't enough. Danny in this movie kind of reminded me of the girl from Transformers 5. And no, it's not because of her race, but because of the fact that when they do gain confidence, I don't buy them as badasses. She's all like, I want to fight them, and I'm just like, oh, please. It was almost laughable. Although I will say, the new Terminator villain in this movie, or the Rev 9 as they call it, is badass, dude. He's played by Gabriel Luna, who I know as Ghost Rider from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or Ghost Rider. He was barely Ghost Rider, who are we kidding? But I liked him as a Terminator, because kind of like the T-1000 in T2, he had personality when he was trying to blend in, but when it came down to the action scenes, he was stoic face, he didn't say a word, it was just all about getting that kill. Par for the course Terminator attitude. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger is back as a T-800, an older T-800, and at this point, I feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger has become a parody of his past self. Like, he was completely badass in T1 and T2, you know, back in the day, but now that he's a bit older, I think he's lost it. Like, I don't think he's aged as well as, say, Han Solo in Force Awakens, where you're like, no, Harrison Ford is still completely Han Solo, and he's great. Arnold as a T-800 in Dark Fate, I felt like he just didn't have that same oozing badass charisma that he had in the first two movies. And I think it's partially because of the writing, the situational circumstance surrounding his character that I'm not gonna get into because it'll spoil the movie, but I ultimately didn't like it because it came off as funny actually, but in an unintentional way. If I dive any further, I think it's gonna be spoilers, so I'm just gonna cut it off right there. The fact that this movie is pretty much a rehash of Terminator 1 didn't really bother me because that is what Terminator is. Well, the good ones anyway. I mean, hell, Terminator 2 is pretty much the same thing as Terminator 1 as well, but with different characters. It did add that one Dyson storyline, but other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. So I feel like this new movie harkened back to what Terminator is. It's a simple plus. Someone sent back in time from the future to kill someone, and someone sent back in time from that same time to protect said someone. I feel like if they did anything different, fans would get pissed off, as has been proven with the other Terminator movies after 2. Fans hate those movies. So I feel like the filmmakers in this one were like, alright, we'll do a Star Wars The Force Awakens. We'll tell them that We still know what Terminator is, so in that regard, I thought it was fine. But I will say this movie didn't really have any heartfelt moments like Terminator 2. T2, when I was watching it the other day, I was like, oh my god, the relationship that John Connor is building with the T-800. It reminded me of Hogarth and the Iron Giant. I was like, yeah, this is like a real bond between kid and machine. And there were moments in that movie that tugged at my heartstrings, surprisingly. I wasn't expecting that from Terminator. And that's why I was like, oh my god, what have I been missing? I feel like I should make a point to watch T1 and T2 more often. But Dark Fate didn't really have any moments like that tugged at my heartstrings. Because at this point, it's the third one, and these are completely new characters. I don't really care about them. Basically, I just didn't feel emotionally attached to this movie. The action was badass though. At first. And that's the thing about Terminator movies for me, is that yeah, action is like a big staple of them with these big car chases and shootout scenes. It's like a staple of Terminator. But even when I was watching T2, I was like, the action's still going, and it's still going. Alright. It's still going. It just seems to drag a little bit for me. Like, the action scenes, they seem to be a little too long. Or at least that's how they feel to me. And this movie's no exception. Like, the action scenes in the first half of this movie, they blew my mind. I was like, this is awesome. The Terminator will just kill someone in an awesome way. I'll just be like, oh yeah. And then by the second half of the movie, the action gets really over the top and ridiculous. And I'm like, okay, alright. Sure, have an airplane crash into another airplane in midair. It was too much. It's like, I sensed the formula of this movie pretty early on. It's like, exposition, action scene. Exposition, action scene. Rinse and repeat, bada bing, bada boom, there's our movie. And it got kind of boring in the second half. The music in this movie was composed by Junkie XL, Tom Holkenborg. And look, the classic Terminator theme, it's iconic. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. I love that theme. I was listening to it in my car on repeat on the way to the screening. And yeah, of course it's back in this movie. And it's always great to hear it coming from big theater speakers. But other than the theme in this movie, the music, forgettable. So in the end, Terminator Dark Fate is another Terminator movie. Like I said, I'm not a lifelong Terminator fanatic, so take my review with a grain of salt. It was fun to watch in that kick your feet up kind of way. Like, if you just like watching cool things happening on screen for 2 hours, then I'd say, yeah, check it out while it's in theaters. But compared to Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 Judgment Day, I feel like it fell flat. Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor was badass. She was my favorite character in the movie. The action was cool until it got boring, and the recycled storyline didn't bother me because it is what Terminator's supposed to be. Or at least that's how I feel. For Terminator Dark Fate, I will say, wait until this movie's at a discount theater, then go see it. I don't know if this is gonna be the last Terminator movie. If I had to guess, probably not. This franchise has already been bled dry. So Terminator Dark Fate, have you seen it? What did you think about it? And what's your favorite Terminator movie? T1 or T2? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.